This is the Stretch Goals Podcast, where each week we'll share insights and lessons learned based on our experiences as entrepreneurs. We'll challenge you to create ambitious goals as you start and grow your business. I'm your host, Robert Dickerson.
And I'm Scott Davis.
Just want to welcome you to our podcast. My name is Robert.
And I'm Scott.
And we want to help you as an entrepreneur start and grow your business and develop great products. And that's really what the focus is on this podcast. And each week we're going to share our insights, tactics, and some of the lessons that we've learned growing our own businesses so that you can apply them and you can learn. You know, starting from scratch as an entrepreneur is tough. You know, it's a journey and it's something that you have to go all in on. And so we want to share, the experiences, lessons that we've learned, but also build a community and discuss, how together we can build great products and base businesses. In these podcasts, we're going to tackle what it takes really to turn your idea into a product. And through that, we're going to give you insights into development of our own products and things that we've learned. So let's talk a little bit about why we created this podcast, because I know we've been talking for a couple of weeks now about putting this thing together. So what are you excited about with this podcast?
I think, one of the things that come up a lot when I'm downtown talking to people who are in the startup world or possibly wanting to go into the startup world is there's always misconceptions, but there's a lot of questions, and people don't know where to go to get those answers. And it's hard to talk about yourself and be like, hey, I built a business, you should come talk to me. So really, it's just one of those things where you want to share some of your experiences, but people, it's just hard to reach out to people and really connect with them and share those experiences on the same level. So for me, when we talked about building this podcast, it's about sharing these experiences through, various different outlets, but it allows us to have a conversation that people don't always get to have and hopefully inspire people and inform them at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for me, starting out, it was tough to find people to talk to, people that have had these experiences and really, create a community around entrepreneurship and how you get started. And it is really hard. And you have to know so many different things around business, around products. And so hopefully through this podcast, we can share that information. And I'm also excited about learning myself about what other people have done and connecting with other entrepreneurs.
I agree, 100%.
So just let's talk a little bit about ourselves, just so people can have a background. Talk about yourself for a couple minutes and what you're working on right now.
Sure. So, long story short, I've been doing software development for just about 20 years now, which dates me. Everyone can guess my age pretty much, but I've been in multiple industries, telecom, government, finance, startup space. But I think the thing that, strikes me and makes me a little bit more engaged in the startup world is that I've been in the shoes of many of the people that have gone down that path. Specifically, I had a side gig that I turned into a full-time job that I later sold to another company, and that allowed me to get out of the corporate world and focus on, that American dream, so to speak. So the last few years since I sold that, I've been consulting with startups, helping them build mobile apps for iPhone and Android, and also consulting as a chief technical officer and senior architect wherever those needs may be. And, I don't ever see myself going back to the corporate world. I love doing this. I love the freedom and the creativity and everything that's associated with it. And I've got a business right now called MobX, and we build software. It's just a group of people, buddies, friends, whatever you want to call it. And we build products for companies that are in need. Some of us are full-time, some of us are contract. Really, it's just meant to be this flexible sort of outlet for software developers to come together and build great products.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, another thing, to note is that we've also known each other now for over 20 years. Scott and I both went to high school together and started out in programming and learning how to do things. And I think we've both taken a similar track, right, in terms of we worked for, each of us had worked for probably over 15 years within, different Fortune 500 companies, small businesses. And I feel like that was a good outlet for me. And, you might say the same thing, is that you learn a lot. You learn how to do things within companies. You learn what works, what doesn't work. and then you can take that knowledge and apply it to your own business. And for me, I wanted to start my own company, just like you said, because I wanted more control over what I could build, and I also wanted more flexibility in my lifestyle, and also it's more fun, right? When you get the creative outlet to build things for yourself. And so those are the things that I enjoy doing as well. So my background is an engineer, and I started out developing products, both software and hardware-based products for companies. I've done that for the last 15 years. I started out with a side business or side project that I turned into a business and sold. I started a consulting business where I help people develop products. And then recently I founded a company called MapOut. And MapOut is a mobile learning platform that really uses video courses to educate your customers about your products and also training. And I really feel that learning is a big passion of mine. I enjoy learning new things, and I really feel like if we can apply new techniques and new technology in that space, we can really help people grow their products by educating customers. Because the world we live in now, people don't have a lot of time to learn about new products, and so if you can educate them quickly through video and create a more engaging experience, they're more likely to use and try your products. So that's my focus right now.
That's awesome. That's great. Can you tell us a little bit more about the startup that you sold?
Yeah, so I co-founded a company called GeoWake, and the idea was that we put nautical charts and navigation aids on top of Google Maps. And so what we did was we created a widget that people could embed onto their site, mostly for boating communities, that they could look then and navigate around the charts and watch the waterways. So developed that company with a co-founder, and then we sold the business to marinas.com, which now hosts everything. And that was really cool because I really like the geospatial stuff, the mapping type of stuff, and that was one of the reasons that I started in that business, was to learn that technology. And it just kind of grew from there, and it was fun to figure out what the product was going to be, because we went in, we didn't really know. It was a time when Google Earth was really hot, and people were just starting to move into the web. So I think, with a lot of these businesses, it's about coming up with a good idea that solves a problem, but also the timing has to be right with what people are doing in the platforms.
I think you touched on something that's really important, and that's, at least in my experience, and it sounds like your experience as well, when you have an idea that you're truly passionate about or interested in, it lends the way to success. Because if you just have an idea and you're not passionate about it, you're not going to have that drive to spend late nights or your free time working on these concepts. So when you've got something that you're all in for, it's just a natural path to success.
Yeah, and I try to pick ideas that I'm really passionate about, because as I've learned over the years, as you have as well, is that it takes a long time to develop a product. So if you're not passionate about it, if you don't want to do it every day, then it's probably not something that you want to get involved with as a business. It might just be a fun side project. Absolutely.
And I think some people focus so much on just coming up with an idea that they can build a company around, and that doesn't always make sense. In some cases it does, but in other cases it just makes more sense to build something that you're actually passionate about and can sort of live as it grows.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to start this podcast. I hope you as a listener too are interested, and we got some exciting topics coming up. And so just hang in there, subscribe to our podcast, let us know, give us feedback, and we look forward to engaging with you and talking with you.
Likewise.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Stretch Goals podcast. You can access the show notes for this episode and listen to other episodes by heading over to stretchgoals.fm.